Good morning to the most incredible XRP army. I'm gonna waste no time, let's get right into the video. Let me tell you something that should absolutely make every single XRP holder sit up right now. If you're holding XRP or planning on getting any amount of XRP, you need to hear this. Buckle up, because XRP at $10,000 in 2026 isn't some imaginary dream anymore. It's a scenario that's quietly brewing behind the scenes, and we're diving straight into the mechanics of why it's even possible. Jake Claver's prediction isn't pulled from thin air. It's based on institutional adoption, ETF volume surges, and systemic integration into financial rails that are moving trillions daily. We're talking about XRP supply on exchanges collapsing to an 8-year low, 1.6 billion tokens compared to nearly 4 billion just a few months ago. That kind of supply shock, paired with massive corporate and bank demand, sets the stage for exponential price moves. And don't underestimate the upcoming liquidity solutions and DeFi integrations. Evernorth, treasury applications, lending pools, all live on-chain, creating a financial ecosystem where XRP isn't just a coin. It's a liquid asset that can settle payments across the globe almost instantly. This isn't speculation. It's infrastructure signaling real value capture. By the end of 2026, the dynamics could realistically push XRP past 4 digits. And if adoption accelerates, 5 digits is on the table. So I need you, the amazing viewers, kick back, get comfortable, smash the like and subscribe button. Now, let's get right into the video. Ethereum is riding the coattails of this institutional wave, but its trajectory is equally explosive. Jake Claver highlights a potential $60,000 Ethereum based on Bitcoin correlation and its 0.25 ratio relative to BTC. Look, Ethereum at $3,000 today is undervalued compared to its network utility. It's more than just a smart contract platform. It's the backbone of the next-gen financial ecosystem. Payment rails, DeFi, supply chain, tokenized real-world assets, and stablecoins all leverage Ethereum. Once institutional money flows in through 401ks, corporate treasuries, and regulated channels, Ethereum isn't just climbing, it's redefining the ceiling. And XRP and Ethereum aren't isolated cases. Chainlink, Solana, and XLM are all positioned to surge under the same regulatory and adoption tailwinds. The market isn't waiting for hype. It's waiting for access and infrastructure to deliver tangible liquidity and yield for institutions. The trickle-down effect of institutional capital is going to reorder the crypto landscape in ways retail investors can only dream about if they're not positioned early. CME entering the XRP market is a game changer on a systemic level. Spot-quoted futures, micro-futures, and options on XRP create a regulatory-safe conduit for hedge funds, prop shops, and retail proxied institutions to gain exposure. The basis risk is minimal because these contracts hug the live XRP price while allowing arbitrage, delta hedging, and volatility trades. Imagine sophisticated trading desks now able to add XRP exposure without leaving the comfort of regulated frameworks they already trust for equities or BTC. This isn't just market efficiency. It's the difference between a fringe altcoin and a fully integrated financial asset. By embedding XRP into CME's infrastructure, you create the conditions for price discovery, tighter spreads, and institutional confidence, key ingredients for exponential growth. This adoption is no longer hypothetical. It's happening now. Banks and central banks aren't just observing, they're participating. Ripple already integrates with over 100 banks, covering 80% of global trade corridors. With central banks openly discussing integration, XRP is positioned as a Tier 1 ready asset for global finance. Banks face Basel III capital constraints that lock up trillions in pre-funded accounts for cross-border payments. XRP acts as a bridge, freeing trapped capital while maintaining regulatory alignment. The combination of high liquidity, regulatory acceptance, and operational efficiency isn't just bullish, it's transformative. This is exactly the infrastructure that can push XRP into 4 and 5 digit valuations as adoption compounds and global financial flows increasingly rely on this network. We're also seeing real corporate use cases accelerate. JP Morgan's partnership with Ripple's G Treasury for Franklin Electric demonstrates this perfectly. $2.1 billion in global intercompany revenue now nets in real time, reducing FX costs, bank fees, and reconciliation headaches. This isn't a minor pilot. This is the type of operational efficiency that scales across corporations. When one large company proves the model, hundreds can follow, each adding incremental demand for XRP and driving price pressure higher. Corporate adoption isn't theoretical, it's measurable. transactional, and massive in scale. XRP supply dynamics amplify the scenario. Exchange supply has plummeted from 3.76 billion in October to 1.6 billion today, an 8-year low. As institutional and corporate demand locks up more coins, circulating supply will drop even further. Imagine exchanges holding only tens of millions of XRP while billions of dollars in corporate transactions and institutional allocations drive daily demand. This isn't linear growth, it's a multiplicative effect. Price appreciation at this level is inevitable under supply constraints and rising demand. RLUSD and stablecoin expansion reinforce the ecosystem's resilience. RLUSD hitting its 1-year anniversary as a top 5 US dollar stablecoin, gaining regulatory approval and expanding across multiple chains including Layer 2s, Optimism, Base, Inc., and Unichain means XRP isn't just speculation. It's becoming a core settlement layer for stablecoins and real-world assets. Abu Dhabi's green listing and Gemini's adoption further embed XRP into regulated financial environments, opening pathways for collateralized trading and institutional participation. FUD exists, of course. Every explosive market has skeptics. But let's be real, most criticism, particularly centralized voices like Scott Melker, is performative. His negative commentary doesn't negate the structural factors at play. XRP is centralized compared to some networks, yes, but this centralization is an advantage for institutions seeking regulatory certainty and operational predictability. The market isn't reacting to memes or opinions. It reacts to adoption, liquidity, and infrastructure. Crypto adoption is accelerating at an institutional scale unseen in history. XRP's integration into banking systems, corporate treasuries, and regulated futures markets signals an ecosystem capable of supporting enormous price growth. Pair this with Ethereum, Solana, and Chainlink adoption across DeFi and stablecoin markets, and you're looking at a multi-trillion-dollar expansion in crypto's market cap over the next 12 to 18 months. Every partnership, every regulatory nod, every technological rollout compounds this effect. When JP Morgan, central banks, and corporate giants validate XRP and Ethereum as operational assets, the narrative changes from speculation to execution. This is the moment institutions transition from observing crypto as a risky experiment to adopting it as a core operational tool, locking in demand and constricting supply, which is the perfect storm for parabolic price action. Exchange-traded liquidity is surging. Spot XRP ETFs hitting $50 million in mere hours is more than a headline. It's a real-world signal that retail and institutional liquidity is converging. The more people and institutions want to participate, the more scarcity amplifies value. This is classic supply-demand acceleration, only now turbocharged by regulatory clarity and institutional trust. On-chain innovations, including lending pools, liquidity protocols, and pseudo accounts for treasury management, are coming online. These are not theoretical. They will be live by mid-2026, allowing massive corporate flows to settle efficiently, reducing counterparty risk, and creating operational leverage that drives adoption and locks in assets on-chain. XRP isn't just a coin. It becomes a functional settlement tool embedded in financial operations. The macro perspective amplifies this story. With Bitcoin potentially reaching $250,000 and Ethereum scaling with it, crypto markets are positioning for systemic recalibration. XRP and Ethereum aren't isolated. They're central to the financial flows, redefining global payment and settlement systems. Regulatory acceptance, institutional adoption, and market infrastructure improvements all converge into an environment primed for explosive asset appreciation. XRP isn't just an investment, it's a transformation of global finance. Every bank, corporation, and regulated trading platform that integrates with XRP reinforces its Tier 1 status. The infrastructure, adoption, and supply dynamics are aligned for explosive growth. 10,000 XRP isn't a prediction. It's a scenario supported by real, verifiable market forces. The pieces are in motion, and if history repeats, 2026 could be the year XRP reshapes the financial landscape.